Welcome back, guys, to the Bear and Scully podcast with me, Sean Scullion, aka Scully, Owen Mallon, aka the Bear, Aidan, the face for radio behind the scenes, and today we are joined with Thea Corry. Thea, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you guys.
For the first time ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been doing some laughing before we've even got on this pod. I feel like we had a podcast before we've had this podcast.
Pre-podcast.
But I know I'm actually slightly worried, concerned where this one's going to go from the conversations we've had for it. But Thea, thank you very much for coming on. You are going to tell us your story and a bit about you. But before we get into that, we always go to the very start and have get an idea of where you're from, and then we'll move on to the here and now, which is it's mad from what we've been chatting. But Thea, welcome along.
Thank you very much.
So, how did it all start? Let's go back till your childhood.
Perfect. So I was actually originally born in a country called Romania, and I was adopted very, very young, at 18 months of age. I was in different foster cares as well. So, obviously I can't really remember very much back until then, but over my lifespan, I've educated myself a wee bit. And I was adopted by an Irish family. Unfortunately, they couldn't have kids. So they adopted two wee Romanian girls. So my sister was adopted 4 years prior to me, but we were in different orphanages in different parts of Romania itself. And then they were going to go and adopt a wee boy. But when they went back to get the wee boy, he was gone and I was the only child left. So of course, they got blessed with me. And so from 18 months old, I've been over here. I've grew up in Castle Dawson. I went to school in Mackerfelt, the Rainy Endowed. What a school. It was a great school. And I did a lot of sport through my childhood, and sport was really the only thing that I really, really liked. And I wasn't really an educative or an academic child. Riddled with ADHD as a kid is very hard, especially in today's society with being in school, and you find yourself getting in trouble all the time and getting scolded all the time and everything. But you do grow up, and I guess school for me, especially with my different culture, I found it very hard to adapt and fit into school and adapt to, as such, Irish culture. Even though I was only 18 months and I wasn't educated in culture or, any sort of tradition or anything, I knew I was a different child. I was a very dark-skinned child, and I had so much energy. I was probably the only child that ever had to get moved in class or had to go speak to a teacher or something, But that's kind of the start of my childhood as such, coming from Romania. Born in Romania, but evolved in Ireland. So I was evolved here.
That's quite a way to put it.
Yeah.
And so your sister, was that your biological sister?
No. So my sister is actually from a city called Bucharest. It's the main city in Romania. And I was from a place called Reșița, which is not so, what would you say? Economically developed. So I would have been in a more poor side of Romania and stuff like that. And there would have been a lot of homelessness. There would have been a lot of, I don't even know how to say it. You'll see them round Belfast, really selling the big issue and all. It's that.
What then, is there some international scheme set up for adoption then, but between Romania and Ireland? Or
no, so obviously, unfortunately, my parents couldn't conceive, and they really, really wanted kids. So my parents had friends who were either Norwegian or Lithuanian or something, and they lived beside us, and her name was Thea. And she was my mummy's very, very good friend, and she actually helped mummy with the adoption. So what happens is, I think it's quite a long procedure, what I'm guessing anyway. But so you go over, and then you go and see the people in the foster homes, you see what child you bond with, whatever. And then I think you have to go through a year or two or whatever the procedure is. Don't take me for facts, but I think you have to have house assessments, you have to have psychological tests and everything done now. But back in the days, I think it was very, very much the traditions and everything's so different now with society that, all it took was for me to see you with a child and see if you have a nocturnal feeling or if you're a nurturing person. And straight away, that's already brownie points. Whereas now, even if you show that, they'll go into everything else. And, social services will be involved, and, there'll be things that are limitations in your adoption process. But what was I even saying? Now I got myself off track.
We were asking, was it the process was lengthy, but for in a very impoverished area to have someone come over and take, like how many children would have been waiting then for adoption?
To be honest, I think I have one picture of my adopted father holding me whenever I was in the foster home, and there was 14 other kids in the same room. Like, I think it was 14 of us had to sleep in the same room. I was the baby and everybody else was a lot older than me. And I remember my dad said to me, like, whenever I was old enough, 18 or something, he said, you see, when I went into that place to lift you, you were like a eel, like you just knew you were a child that needed so much love. Like, apparently I was like slipping all over him and he couldn't keep a hold of me. And then another thing he said was, over there, especially in like low economically developed countries or countries that have a lot of poverty and, stuff like that, they were feeding me wedges, like potato wedges, as a baby under 18 months while I was on the wee potty. Like, feeding you while you were on the potty. Like, my dad said to me, as soon as I saw that, I needed to take you out. He just said, I couldn't see that. A child being fed human solid foods at that age for a start, whilst being made try to go to the toilet at the same time. Like, would you eat your food on the toilet?
Yeah. But it's right. So I don't know whatever to say. Like, how fortunate that your life was that it could take, what the turns it could be, that all of a sudden now you're going and you're getting on a plane and you're going to a different country.
And me not even remember any of it. And then me landing here in Ireland and you wouldn't even think that I am Romanian. And
then now, do you know anything about your biological family? Or?
I don't know, but I did say once I've settled down, if that ever happens, because I'm very happy on my own. If I ever settle down with someone, it would be a major, major adventure to just trek through Romania, look through back things, or look back through everything and try and, collect together enough information and data that would enable me to go back and search. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. But it's like one of those things I'd be sitting going, you're my mum. What? You look nothing like me.
Yeah.
What?
You don't sound like me anyway.
No, you don't sound like me. Or they'll be looking at me going, you're not Romanian. You're not my wee Thea. You're not my wee Thea.
Yeah. Is that was your birth name?
No, my birth name was Anna, actually. So I'm incorrect saying that. Yeah, my birth name was Anna. And then when I came over here, my mum named me after her friend Thea. So...
And was your adoptive parents always very open with you?
Yes. Well, I don't even know how I found out I was adopted, to be honest. I think I found out myself over time. I can't even remember how I did find out. But when I did find out, I spent a lot of time thinking to myself, like, is this a lie? Like, is this real? I couldn't put together in my mind, or like try and, whenever you're older, you can actually like associate yourself with your younger self and you can take yourself back to past experiences. I couldn't even have any acknowledgement or, any visions or views of my past. Like, I can't remember anything before my 13th birthday now at this age. And it's crazy. It's mad. Like, people are able to tell me experiences that they had when they were 8 or 6 or 7. And I'm here going, I must have whatever you call that thing that you can't remember anything. Since 13, I think the last thing I remember was my 13th birthday party. That was my youngest memory.
But it is bound to have, children are developing in at 18 months and so much is changing, and you're all the wee things and core things you're learning up until you're 7 years of age. Being moved to a different country, you may not remember that, you may not know that, and it's a very young age, but it is bound to have had a knock-on effect on
110%. 110%. It's very, like, whenever you get to an age where you are psychologically intelligent enough to understand different concepts in life and, think to yourself about the information that you've been given, i.e. I was adopted, but I can't do anything without that, without any information. And I haven't been able to find any information. So, like ever since I was maybe about 18 was around the time where, you know, you hit your adulthood, and I guess I was kind of like analysing my whole life up until 18, and I couldn't picture why, or I couldn't even understand why I was in the position I was. And then I was asking myself all the questions like, why was I adopted? Why was I put here? Like, what happened to my mum? What happened to my dad? Were they young? Were they on the streets? Like, it's just, so from my 18th, I'd say, to now, every day I'd think about it. I'd be like, what happened to have me here? And it's something that I always want to like figure out, and it's something I always want to get to the bottom of, and you know, have my life story actually make sense, rather than my life timeline now is from 0 to 18, but from 0 to 18 I don't remember any events, or sorry, 0 to 13 I don't remember any events, and then from 13 to now, you know, things have obviously happened in my life, and I've been here for them. I've been very mentally present, and I've acknowledged what's happened, so I know, and they're kept in my brain. So like, until I get the information and the confirmation that I need for my own life history, I'll be able to move forward with my future, you know what I mean? So it's like, how do I even say it? I don't know. I can't put it into my words what I'm trying to say.
No, well, you obviously you've come over. You've had a great life. Your parents, you went to a really good school, and you know, is it something that you could speak to your parents about? Is it something that is it hard to talk to your parents about?
I don't really speak to my parents about very much. I've kind of like dissociated myself over time with people just in general. I'm sure you guys know yourself. Whenever like, you know, you go through stuff in life and you find yourself in solitude, which is just you and only you, that is the time whenever only you can answer questions that you have, or you can only provide yourself with the answers to the questions that you have, because you know you can't ask anybody else, because the answer has to come from within. So for me to sit down with my parents and ask questions, if, in my opinion, if they hadn't known any more information, they would have provided me with it. So in my head, it's like, there's no point in sitting down with people who don't actually know the information themselves. So I'll take it into my own hands whenever I have the time, and, you know, work through it that way. So in terms of speaking to my parents and stuff, I wouldn't have a very great relationship with my parents in general. So I do tend to be by myself quite a bit, and like, you know, our dynamic would be quite different to most families, and maybe it is because of my adoption and my connection, and I can really, really genuinely only connect to people who, how do I say it? Like, I feel they have a bit of me. Do you know what I mean? I know they're not my genetics, and I know I'm not their genetics. So from that, there completely is. And I do agree that there are families that have adopted and their kids and the families have an amazing bond. But with the strength of love and compassion I have, I can only do that with people who I'm sure about. If, like, in terms of connection and stability, like for my first 18 months of my life, those two people weren't there. So, you know, I came into the world without them, so it's kind of hard for me to go through life without thinking these people provided me with a life. These two people who have adopted me have provided me with a life. However, because of the dissociation and the traveling and the moving, obviously I'm not old enough to remember, but my body does, and my heart and my mind knows that what I've been through. So connections between people kind of lack, and I think it's a bit of me not getting fed information that I wanted, or answers or questions being answered that I've kind of, you know, resented a wee bit. You know, I've kind of moved away from family, and I've kind of separated myself, and, you know, tried to work through things myself, because if you can't get answers from the external, you have to go inwards, you know, and that's just a fact.
So we'll come back to that, but you were in the Rainy. What did you do then after? Did you?
So I studied in Stranmillis. I studied teaching.
Okay.
And I was in my 3rd year of uni and I fell pregnant. So I couldn't go back to my studies. And it was about maybe 2 or 3 months before my final exam. And I was maybe 2 months pregnant. And I only found out at 7 weeks that I was pregnant. And around the 12-week mark, I was meant to be sitting my exam. And I woke up 2 days prior to my exam bleeding. So I went into the hospital and I said, look, I think I've just had a miscarriage. Can I please be seen to by the early pregnancy unit? And the doctor said, no, you're fine. And I was like, sorry, excuse me. Like, I've come in, I'm telling you, like, I know my body. I have had a miscarriage. I need to be seen to. And they said, no, just come on and we'll get your bloods taken, blah, blah, blah. They took 8 test tubes of blood, lost all my blood, and came back for more test tubes of blood. Then left me in the waiting room for 8 hours and then just came back and said, you're all good, way home. So this was on the Friday, and then on the Saturday I woke up again with bleeding. And I went back in and I said, look, I'm bleeding again. I need to be seen to. Please bring me to the early pregnancy unit just so I can get a scan, just see the baby's heart, see if the baby's growing, blah, blah, blah. Same again. They brought me to a gynecologist. They did internal tests, whatever. Everything was good. Sent me home. And then on the Monday was my 12-week scan. And I came in on the Monday and they did the external scan and they couldn't see anything. There was no heartbeat or anything. And then they tried the internal scan and there was no internal heartbeat. And she obviously told me, look, you've had a miscarriage. And when she removed the probe, there was a lot of infectious fluid. So my womb, the baby had actually passed away at 7 weeks, but it was in me until my 12-week appointment. So the baby had decayed in my womb. So my womb got infected. So I had to go in that night for surgery to get the baby removed. And then from then, I think like that was an extremely traumatizing experience for me because number one, I've never been sick. And number two, I've never been in a hospital, you know, other than whenever I was a kid. I'm blind in my left eye. So I would have had to go for, you know, assessments down in the hospital or whatever. But for me, that was extremely scary as a 22 or 23-year-old girl lying in a hospital bed thinking you're going to give birth in 8 or 9 months or whatever, or 6 months, sorry, whatever it was. And there's women around you like giving birth and there's women around you with big massive bumps and you're lying in a ward going, why me? Like, what was it? Like, what happened? What made me incapable of carrying? So from then was an extremely, extremely hard time for me. So I was with my ex-partner at the time, and actually when I fell pregnant, his parents kicked us out. His parents actually kicked me out because they didn't want me to be with him because I was basically running the family. I lived with the family, none of them worked. So I was earning for the house, I was paying their rent, I was buying their food, and there was 7 of us. He had there was 3 siblings, an uncle and a mum and a dad in the house, including me and him. So I went back to my house with my parents and they weren't too happy about the situation either. So it resulted in me living in my car for a while. So I just kind of dissociated myself from everybody and I was in my car for a couple of months. And I finally got into a wee place in Portlandone, and it was a wee B&B. I finally got in there for about one or 2 months, but within the first month I actually had miscarried in her B&B. So I was sitting in the B&B, obviously, you know, everything had happened. I just ran down to her and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I've literally just ruined your whole mattress, your whole bed, everything. And she's like, everything's okay. And she offered to drive me to the hospital and all. And I was like, look, no, it's okay. I've got sorted. So after that, I obviously had to just move back home. And after the miscarriage, I moved back home. And my parents were away in Donegal, so I didn't know what to do with my life. I was like, I need this baby. Like I was so ready for it, you know. And for someone who needs a lot of love, myself, I I knew exactly what I could provide for that child was literally the love that I've always sought. But I don't know why I haven't been able to get it from people. And I don't understand why people can't love as intensely as I do. Sometimes I would sit there just so confused as to why I am so compassionate and why I'm so loving, even whenever I shouldn't be. So I was lying in the house by myself and I was like, I'm really lonely. Like, this is not normal. So I rescued a dog. I drove to Lisburn and I rescued a half black Labrador and a half German Shepherd. And I took him home and we had 2 nights in the house and Mum came home and Mum didn't like the dog. Shadow was a reactive dog and he was abused and he was 11 months old. So my mum came into the room shouting, what is a dog doing up the stairs? And Shadow went to attack my mum. So I had to grab him by his neck. And I mean, he yelped, but the 2 days that I already had him, I was applying for the army. So I was actually going into the army to do paratrooping. And I had started training the day I got him. I started doing, dog handling training with him and all, and I wanted him to get into the army. And within 2 days, he was literally the most submissive, hardworking dog that I had ever met. I had family dogs, but I never had a connection with a dog the way I did with him. And the day I got him, I went into the house. I went up to the house in Lisburn, and it was a woman with about 6 kids, and Shadow was standing at the door with the 6 kids behind him. He wouldn't let me anywhere near them. So I just walked out the back. He was very aggressive with me and he was, he would have attacked me if I went anywhere near the kids. So I went out the back and we were, I found this ball on the floor and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start bonding with this dog here because he's coming home with me today. Like this dog's not going anywhere but with me. And I started throwing the ball and the dog started being my friend. And I was like, right, okay, I'm going to test something. So I walked away and walked out to the car, opened the car door and he jumped in. So me and him came home and that obviously happened. So then we jumped into the car again and we lived in the car for 6 weeks. And within the 6 weeks, every day I was training in Mecca for the army and Shadow was there with me. And he was amazing. He was an amazing dog. But the only thing is, whenever I was living in my car, there was a lot, obviously because I was a single female, I was very vulnerable. So the police were constantly pulling me over, asking me why I was sleeping out. And my dog was not having any of the police. Every single time the dog was like, do not come near my home or my mum. Like, do not be coming near us. And there was many times where like Shadow nearly got himself like tasered or put down. And I would have had to say to the police officers, like, you touched my dog. And I swear to God, like, this will be the last time you look at a dog. Like, I was not for having it. And with them knowing my situation and all too, so it started to become harassing. So in total, I was in my car for about 357 days, with breaks, throughout. But whenever I was in my car and they had come down with the police, they were calling like extra cop cars down and all with dog handlers to try and contain Shadow. And I was sitting there like, I can contain my dog. Let us leave the car first, stand away, and then you can do whatever you need to do, whatever you need to do. So that was that. And then we moved all around Ireland. We slept in Bangor together. We slept in Carrickfergus. We slept in flipping everywhere. It was amazing. I literally had the life of it. It was the best time of my life. It was amazing. And he was just the most beautiful, beautiful dog. Like, that dog was my soul dog and he came along at the right time. And so it got to the point where my back and everything was getting really, really bad because we were sleeping in the car together. And so I came back home and Dad said the dog cannot sleep inside because Shadow would have attacked someone if they came into my bedroom. He would have. So I put him out in the yard, and that night he jumped out of the stable window, smashed a glass window, jumped over a fence and caught his collar on the fence. But I came out and he was hanging by his collar, but he was still breathing because whatever way the collar was, it wasn't on his neck, it was on his chin. So it was just pushing his jaw up. So he still had full, access to breathing. So I just rang the people up that I rehomed him and I said, look, you're going to have to keep him for 6 weeks so I can get my house and me and him can live happy ever after together. They were like, no problem. That's fantastic. So I went and met the girl's husband this time, and he worked in the army. And as soon as I walked towards him, Shadow yelped and lay on his back. So I took the lead off him. I said, man, what is this dog doing this to you for? Like, have you abused this dog? And he's like, no. Like, me and Shadow have, trained in the army together. Or, sorry, I've been training him at home when I'm away from the army. So, of course, I was like, look, I can't argue against that, blah, blah, blah. So then driving home, just pure depressed, man, just staring out the window going, what am I going to, why have I had to do this? Like, why have I had to get rid of my dog? So then they said, we'll call you tomorrow. We'll go and get him vet checked, make sure everything's okay after the jump. So they took him into the vets, and I rang them the next day and I was blocked. So I rang the vets and I said, look, I'm just inquiring about a dog called Shadow. I know he's registered under the vets in Lisburn. I was just wondering, has he been in to get a checkup? And they said, we can't enclose any information. And I said, this dog is my dog. I'd like information enclosed, please. And they said, no, the owners have come in last night. And unfortunately, Shadow came in with slice wounds all over him. And the owners had said that he had attacked me, so I sliced him for self-defense and they put him down. I know. It's crazy, like.
The dog had attacked who?
They had told the vet that the dog had attacked me and I used a knife for self-defense.
So it was you that slashed the dog?
No, yeah.
So they're saying that?
Yeah, but I had actually saved Shadow from an abusive household 6 weeks before that, and then I put him back into it. And then that happened. So, madness.
That was so turbulent. The couple of years that you just described, there's obviously quite a few questions in that, but just listening to that, it sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
It's very turbulent. Let's go back till when you said you first moved out and you had your miscarriage. Sounds awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. And we have done quite a few podcasts on early pregnancy loss. The treatment you got sounds horrific. Was your partner with you when you were there? Were you?
My partner wasn't allowed to stay with me in COVID. They wouldn't allow him anywhere near me. There was no partners allowed. It was all pregnant women were by themselves. And I got put into a wee side ward because I was so distressed. I didn't know what was going on. I had just been told that my baby hadn't a heartbeat. And I said to her, I was lying there and I was like, oh, that's okay. There's 1 in 4. Every 1 in 4 women do it. This is my chance for me to prove to other females by the power of God and by my own, my own fire and energy within my own heart. Women can get through it, and they can. If it happens to them more than once, you can get through it. You can get through it. You can get through it. You will always get a rainbow baby opportunity. You always will, if that's what you want and if that's what you would like. But when I was lying in that room by myself, like, I got a wee side room, obviously, because I was the only person in the ward that miscarried. Everybody else was getting ready for labour. And one of the doctors came in and said, look, we need to put you into the main ward here because there's a lady looking a private room and she's about to give birth tomorrow. And I was like to myself, this is a private room, and it was a room that you can't give birth in. So why am I being put out into a room surrounded by women who are just about to give birth and I've just lost my child? So I was just lying there for all night. So I arrived for my appointment at 10 in the morning for my scan, and then obviously they'd said, look, you can either take for the miscarriage, there's 2 ways to remove the body's remains. And they said, you can either take a tablet at home or come in for surgery. And I was like, no problem, I'll do it at home. So then she said, no problem, we'll go and speak to the doctor here and I'll come back. And the surgeon came in and he's like, look, we need you in today. You have a lot of infection in your womb, and if you don't get it removed, there's a chance that we might have to remove your womb. And I was sitting there at 23, I was like, how is this happening? Like, I haven't even had any children yet. I haven't had any trauma to my womb or nothing. And I was just sitting there like, right, just accept it, Taya. This is God's plan. It wasn't meant for you this time. you weren't with the right people in your life, and you weren't surrounded by the right stability, and I wasn't financially stable myself, or physically with a roof over my head for a child. So I said, yeah, I'll do the tablet at home. And they said, no, we need you in tonight. We're going to starve you for 12 hours and then we'll operate on you tomorrow. So they starved me for 22 hours. Like 22 hours. I was starving. Like I was so hungry. And then I went in for my surgery. And what was really, really nice was my anaesthetist actually went to university with my father. And he knew who I was. And before it all, he was so kind. He just eased me into the process. And I had never been under before. I've never had surgery or anything before. I've only ever had, stitching or anything in open wounds or whatever like that, So he's like, have you ever had anaesthetic? And I was like, no, I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't. And he was like, right, I'm just going to give you a wee tester of it here. I mean, he gave me the tiniest wee squirt. He said, count down from 7. I went 7, 6, and that was me out. I woke up and there was a wee doctor over the top of me and he's like, hello, how are you feeling? I was like, here, this isn't as bad as it seems. It was actually a very quick process, and it was very, very pleasantly, surprisingly nice. It felt, I don't know, like it felt like even though I had the miscarriage, I could feel the infection. I could feel the toxicity pumping through my body. Like I could feel it. I knew there was something wrong. And after that, I felt like purified. I felt like I'd almost been cleansed internally. You know what I mean? And from that moment, I said to the doctor, look, I'm feeling great. Can I go home? And they were like, no, we can't go home until you pass urine and you eat toast. I was like, here, I'd love a wee bit of toast. Like, give us a wee cup of tea and toast there. Come on. So then I ate it, and they were like, you can go on home. You can go on ahead out. So that was that. And then obviously during this whole time, my partner was with me. My partner was a lot younger than me, and we were going through a lot of problems with, I'm sure you guys know, younger guys, they need to mature and need to grow up, and that's just a fact. It's the same with women. But I just found myself with the wrong people, and I am someone who would give and provide anybody with anything. So if I'm given an opportunity to have life and the whole world with someone, I will do my best. So we were going through a bit of rough times and stuff, and I actually think from the stress of falling pregnant, being kicked out of his house, and his mum wanting him to stay there and me to do it on my own, from us then going from his house to living in the car for 2 days to then going home to my house and being rejected, to me then leaving him home, breaking up with him, and then just living by myself in a car. It's the most liberating, yet, I mean, the awakening I had. Like, I always laughed about people who were spiritual. And don't get me wrong, I used to be extremely spiritual. I used to be a Buddhist, but, in the past year or in the past 6 months, I'd say, like, my interactions with God is mad, crazy. I always laughed, never believed in religion. I used to sit in class and laugh at the teacher even mentioning the word Jesus. And I'd be like, I'll believe him when he's standing in front of me, and that was never anything that I had ever been open to. I grew up in a very Catholic household, and, everything was very religion entailed. And, you go to mass every Sunday, you speak to God every night, you pray to God every night. And I just grew out of it. I went to the meditation side of things and opening your chakras and all this here. But what I realized and even in the past month or two specifically, has been like a really, really, really major religious awakening as such. Not really religious as such, but God. There's good and bad. There's God and there's evil. There's good and evil. And we all come from God, whether people believe it or not, in my eyes. We all come from God. And anybody who goes through anything in this lifetime that is bad, you have to take from it what you see God trying to tell you, or what you see God trying to tell you not, like what he's trying to talk you away from or what he's trying to talk you into. So my view of it now is the people that have entered my life in the past, God introduced for the reason that I had to learn a lesson so that I don't repeat the same cycles. But also he created the devil, and he allowed the devil to come in to test me, to see whether I am one of his children and if I can make the right decisions in life and I can go by his teachings as such, treat people how God wants us to be treated. And, you know, spirituality is teaching everybody to look from within and telling you, you know, open up your chakras. Like, you know, spirituality is something I was very passionate about, and I would have spoke to people regularly with and sickened them off it. But I've actually realized that the people who are involving themselves with that, you're opening all your channels for the devil. Like God doesn't need you to open your channels for him, because he's already there. He's in all of us. However, whenever we sit and we open all these chakras and all, and we meditate and we look within, we're not thinking of God at that time, are we? We're thinking of ourselves. So we're actually allowing the devil to penetrate our body, to dissociate us away from God and focus on him, which is black magic. Gods they're not God, but these gods like Buddha and everybody else that have come along, they are just spiritual teachers that have taken God's teachings and changed them into their own words. Because we haven't been alive when Jesus was telling his teachings or God was telling his teachings, we've come into a society where, oh, there's Buddha. Buddha's the God, and everything else the way I had perceived the whole thing. And, you know, people are getting swayed between religion and spirituality, and people need to just understand, if you want to, you can be spiritual. You can still carry good energy. You can still treat people how you want to be treated. You can still work on yourself. You can still meditate to calm in the mind. But if you're trying to open up all these channels, what are you open them up for? If you can't unblock your own channels, why are you opening them up? Well, what is it that you're opening your chakras for then? People meditate because they don't know how to clear their chakras. People go to people to get Reiki. That's just people penetrating your body with toxic energy.
This has taken some turns for me. There's layers and there's layers on this, and there's some of the stuff I want to ask you about, because
Of course.
we were talking about then when you went through pregnancy before your special, before this year. How did it come about that you were living in the car?
So I fell pregnant in my ex's house, and his parents kicked me out. So I went back home to my parents to say, could they keep me? And they said no. So that was me in my car.
Okay. All these times you're going back to your parents, and they were taking you back, but this time they didn't. Is this it, or you?
Do you mean whenever
So
I was in the car originally?
Yeah.
So whenever I was in the car originally, was that first time was because I fell pregnant.
Okay.
And then, you know, like different families have different morals, and I completely understand. But when you're in that position yourself, I look past all that. I look past morals. I look past everything, and I was like, I am your child carrying your grandchild. This should be a blessing for you. This should be something that you should be grasping with both hands and, you know, taking into your own hands and bringing into your own life. And I went through a time just not understanding why it happened to me. My sister is only a couple of years older than me, and her baby's 2 now. And when she fell pregnant, everybody was over the moon. You know, when I was pregnant there, when I was pregnant, I still am pregnant. When I recently found out that, or when I had found out I was pregnant, I had gone home to my dad and my mum in the house, and they were holding a party, and all my mum's brothers and sisters were all down, and I couldn't even like say to any of my family I'm pregnant because my family didn't tell anybody, so I had to keep it all to myself, and I had to like not be excited about it. So, you know, now that I'm at the stage where my parents have accepted what's going on, like this is life. We are humans. We are on this earth to reproduce. Women are the portals of the world. Without us, nobody would be here. You know, we carry and we give birth to new humans, and we bring them into this world and provide them with a life. So it's a concept that a lot of families who have different views and different morals, they need to adapt to today's society, and it's not society's fault, and it's not our fault for those who can't adapt. I have been able to adapt even though I'm only 24. I have been on earth 24 years, and society has changed throughout those 24 years, and I have been able to adapt adequately and efficiently. And there's just some people that can't adapt because their morals are too tight. And I've learned myself in this lifetime, if I have really tight morals, I don't have freedom, and I don't have a happy solitude. And if you don't have a busy solitude, you won't have a happy life. So to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself accepting society around you and trying to adapt to the behaviours and the environment around you, you can soon enough understand what's going on and be able to act in an appropriate way, you know, and kind of prepare yourself for other people's opinions and other people's approach to certain situations, because everybody's going to be different and everybody's going to think different about a certain situation. So, you know, I think that is one of the major things for people in today's society, especially young ones. You know, there are going to be families that aren't going to like their children having babies or anything or whatever. Some parents are like, I'm not old enough yet to be a granny or granda, you know, and that's completely understandable. But with my experience and my travels through life, I wouldn't have changed any of it. I wouldn't have changed anything, and I wouldn't have changed any of the interactions between my family. You know, in years to come, maybe there'd be a chance where I can sit down and I can tell them all this. You know, I can let them know everything, because I don't even think my family know the ins and outs, even about shadow or anything like that. You know, so yeah, living with loss is definitely one of the hardest things. I would say is the most haunting form of love.
How's your relationship with your parents today?
It hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed?
No. But you know, I love my family. I love them to bits. They brought me from a very low place in my life to a very high place where I am now. And you know, I'm a very, how would I even describe this? I'm a very soulful person. I don't think with my head ever. I always think with my heart. Always think with my heart. My head may as well not even be there. So, you know, for me being brought into a country like this and meeting the people and having opportunities like this, if it wasn't for my mother and father, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I definitely wouldn't be sitting here today. And if it wasn't for Shadow, I wouldn't be sitting here alive today. So we all need to just think about what we have in the now, because anything you have in the now can be gone tomorrow. And if it's gone, you will know it's gone. You will feel it. You will just sense it. Everything just feels so empty around you. Even if it's the smallest thing, you will know. And those are the times where you pick yourself up and you're like, you know what? I need to think differently about life. I need to have a different perspective. I need to approach life so differently from the way I used to. And the past year, I could write down in a book the amount of things that I have learnt, not only about myself, but with my connection with God and interactions in my life. everything makes sense. Even now, like being pregnant again, and doing it on my own this time, it's a different feeling. Like a woman really, really a female becomes a woman once she carries a child. The changes and the adaptations that happen mentally, physically, emotionally, intellectually and socially is unbelievable. My needs have all changed, you know, in the sense that I'm actually at the place now where I know this baby's coming along. I don't ever want to be with anybody ever again. Like, I really don't. See, once this child comes along, I have everything I have ever wanted. God bless me with this child, but the devil cursed me by bringing trauma into my life. But God's not just going to hand you what you wanted.
Thea, can I ask you, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, and I just want to ask you this here, because your parents, and I know you're maybe not vibing at the minute, but to me it seems like, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but you're intense, and I get that, and you're turbulent, and it seems to me your parents, they love you deeply. They've came, they've adopted you, they've give you love, they've give you a home, they brought you over here, and they've provided, and they're there. And as many times as you sound like you've went back, they've been there. And I know in the situation, but some of it, like to arrive home to a dog that's going to attack, and sometimes it just seems that you're very turbulent, but not with bad intent, but you know, you think there's a part of you that because of your situation and where you come from, that sometimes you maybe push people a wee bit away or test them because
100%, yep.
Do you feel that the relationship, the breakdown of that, could be more to do with you pushing them away and testing them? And I didn't get that. I don't get from them that there would be that type that would judge you for being pregnant. It's all the turbulence that's come with it, and they've probably drawn a line at the minute.
Of course, if we want to go deeply into things, you know, my relationship with my parents, once I hit about 18, when I could take independence and go to uni, you know, every parent's not going to like that. They're not going to like that they can't control, you know, your safety, your security, your food, everything like that. So from going to uni, and I had a partner at the time when I was in school, and he wasn't very good to me. And my parents knew about it because I was a very, very open child, and I told my parents everything. Like if somebody did anything to me, I would tell them. If somebody made me feel a certain way, I would tell them. Like I was a very, very open child with my emotions. So whenever I opened up about that, there was no support network emotionally. It was, you know, and I completely get it. You know, it's good to be strong and good to be, you know, straight there. You've landed yourself in it, and that's that. Don't come crawling back. I get that. But whenever you're at 18, 19 or 17, you don't know those things. You know, you need to be taught. You need to have that support network around you from your family. Because the only people that are going to be able to give you lifelong, efficient advice is the people that have experienced the same shit as you before. So...
Would you listen?
Oh, of course. I always, you know, I'm a very... I love to talk, and I love other people to talk back. So if someone has advice for me that could make me improve as a person, please, by all means, open your mouth.
You strike me as someone that would just follow their heart and away off no matter what people tell you. And I think you're fooling yourself.
I am not.
I think if they give you the perfect advice, you would. Something tells me you're a magnet for these bad boys.
No, you know what it is.
Bad situation.
You know what it is. I was very late to dating, and I was a very sporty child. I was a wee tomboy when I was a kid in school. Nobody looked near me. I looked like a wee boy. You know, I was always hanging about with the lads, skateboarding, playing rugby, playing football. You know, it was just, I was one of the lads. And I guess once I started to, you know, hit society as such, my parents didn't like it. It's just normal. It's normal. Nobody wants their wee girl to be anywhere but in their house, in their space, in their eyesight, you know. And, you know, no person at that, it's very rare that young people meet somebody and it's the right person and they get on so well. When you're younger, that's whenever all your toxic relationships should happen, not when you're older. That is when all your toxic relationships should happen. And I went through extremely toxic relationships with the person that I went to uni with. They were cheating on me all the time. And I actually walked into my dorm room and they were cheating in my dorm room that I lived in, that I paid my rent in. And I just walked in and I walked out. I couldn't even say anything. I was like, here, hurry up and finish up here and then get the fuck out of my house. And I was just sitting there like, I am literally in university, in a relationship, committing to people. Why is this happening? Like, that in itself was enough to push me over the edge, because for 16, 17 years, I didn't give anybody any of my time. And now all of a sudden that I'm giving one person all my time. And just because they didn't get a certain thing off me, they had to go and do it off somebody else. And it was like, you know, I was in a young relationship. I was 18, you know, in uni, and I had all my studies in my head. I wanted to be a teacher. I saw life with this person. You know, this person was also Romanian, but they moved over here when they were younger and we grew up together. Like, it was a very, very, very traumatizing relationship. It was so traumatic. And from then, I kind of made mistakes with myself. Whenever I got to an age where I understood relationships and seeing people together, making each other happy, like, and being committed and showing commitment, I started to crave it. And, you know, once I had a wee taste of it, I would stay. And even though I would get like a really, really good relationship for about maybe 4 weeks max, honeymoon phase, and it is a pattern with narcissistic, empathic relationships. It's a pattern. It's called love bombing. So someone will love bomb you and they will talk to you and say, what do you like? What do you not like? You completely liaise and build that rapport with them. They treat you amazingly for 2 or 3 weeks, a month or whatever, so that you know mentally that a month is enough time for the human brain to release chemicals of complete contentment in terms of love and compassion in a relationship. And when that happens, you're there until you have to, or until you want to turn it off or detach that. So I got to the point whenever I was extremely happy, and as soon as that point happened, that's whenever I started being treated really badly. And that always happens in relationships like that, because the narcissist, if I'm not saying, you know, they have been narcissists, but they have 100% shown narcissistic characteristics and behaviors throughout our relationship. And I know my behaviors and my acts are completely opposite. So therefore that makes me an empath in the situation that I am visualizing in my head. So, you know, that was my very first proper relationship, and it was hectic. And so then I've only ever had, you know, 3 proper relationships in my lifetime, and all 3 of them have been completely chaotic. I am the type of person as well also that I require a lot. Like, I have high standards, and that's just because I know what I can provide to somebody else. And if you can't provide the same to me, I don't want it. Like, I don't want you anywhere near me. I don't want you to look at me. I don't want you to talk to me. Unless you are giving off the same energy and the same level of happiness and love as me, we won't vibrate. I will come face to face with you. I will just look at you and I will know you are not for me. Friend, acquaintance, anything. I will just walk away. I'll just feel that something is wrong. And initially with all of those 3 men, I did not feel that until, you know, later on in the relationship, where more and more stuff that I had mentioned not to be done was happening. But of course, you know, by constantly giving out and screaming about it and shouting and saying, why are you doing this? It's not going to change somebody from doing anything. You just need to remove yourself. So from my last relationship, I fell pregnant, and we were going through a bit of a tough time, and I just said I have to do it alone. I can't be in a relationship where it's one-sided, or where you are fully absorbed in your career and yourself that you can't take time for a significant partner and a potential child, you know. So I just had to walk away, and from then I've just been doing things on my own.
So just to clarify, so people won't be aware, sitting down, you're actually currently pregnant.
I am indeed, yes. I'm 18 weeks pregnant. Belly on me the size of a watermelon.
We've kept that one away. Well, yeah, and maybe this isn't the segue to go into this, but also you are a model and an OnlyFans model.
I am indeed, yes.
I have questions how to balance that.
Oh, God.
While being pregnant, how do you balance that?
What do you mean by balance?
How do you do it?
So I was actually previously on OnlyFans at the start of the year. I started last October, and by January 2023, I got to the top. It was either 1.6 or 2% worldwide.
So you're not only new to the...
No.
You are okay.
So I
Was
had
this between relationships?
I actually started OnlyFans when I was living in my car homeless, and I said, this is the way I'm going to make money. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I had enough money to move in with my friend and pay rent, and I just continued it. And within, I think maybe it was the first 2 months, I was sitting looking at my phone going, how is every woman or man not on this? Like, the amount of money you can get. I earned $2,000 or $8,000 in my first 2 months. And that was from literally just talking to people. It wasn't even selling content. It was just chatting away to people, giving people your time. There's people on there that just want companionship. There's people on there that just want to chat. There's people on there that, you know, just want a wee video of your face, anything, you know. So it's extremely varied, and it's an industry that everybody has such a different view on. But for me, starting it started my life. Obviously, I went through such toxic relationships. I didn't want to be with anybody, but I was happy draining men's wallets. I was happy with it, and they were happy to do it. You know, they were happy to do it. So, yeah,
So you started this in the car?
I started it. Yes, I started it in the car.
Homeless.
Yes.
And then it instantly took off, or
Oh, why? Like I was a wee
How do you-
tomboy looking thing in school, and then as soon as I put one post up, and from that day, I think I got about 250 subscribers in the one day.
And how much do they pay?
$19.99 a month.
Jesus Christ! I might start pulling out my car here. No, I'm making light. Obviously, you were in the situation, and what I actually just want to ask you this, and I'm aware that when I ask questions, a young girl like this, people are going to turn around and say, he's a perfect kid, and he's that. But I want to get the mindset here. When you're in the car and you're obviously low and you're homeless, did you say, you know what?
I let all my subs know. I'm very open. I said my subs knew I was living on the road.
Well, I don't mean this being smart, but the background might have given it away, no?
Well, I didn't sell content until I moved into a house.
Oh, right.
I made my money at the start. I made my first grand within 2 weeks, and that was just chatting to people. That grand got me a house for rent a month.
I don't mean this funny. How do you right? Listen, and I might sound like completely. I'm an old man in this terms of things. And Sean would joke and say, "Oh, I know plenty about it," but really, we're on a learning curve here.
What's your name on it?
Subscribe to the bear.
The hairy bear. Just
If you want to see this, nobody wants to see this. But
high prices, folks.
But what I mean is to advertise yourself or promote yourself.
Are you wanting to know how to do it?
No. But what I mean is, I want to know the process.
Because people would pay for that laughing.
They would pay for that. Hey, subscribe to my private content if you want an extra long giggle.
He'll dress up in a bear sitting on and come in and do his roar for you.
That's getting really extreme. But no, because what I'm saying is, for anyone there that was thinking of setting this up here, and I don't mean this in a what do you obviously to sell yourself, you obviously have to put on social medias, this is what I'm doing.
Right, so
and you can go and buy this, obviously, like a link or something.
So
right?
basically, whenever I actually got to the top 2, I had a group chat, and I actually helped a lot of girls start their OnlyFans up. There was about 150 girls in my group chat, and they just came to me for advice, came to me on how to market, how to promote, how to get your fans in. And that's what I'll tell you now.
People would pay to get into that group.
Here, you'd be surprised. I was getting all the girls' content. I was like, girls, don't be sending that in here for free. Like, you need to be charging me for this.
So what is it you have to put? And I don't want the graphic detail, but what I mean is, you're saying you mainly made your money from talking to people. So like, I don't mean
and
this.
Tips. So
if you put out on social media, "Hi, I'm over here. I'm available to chat."
Yeah.
Or is that what it is?
So basically, what I always do is I always put up a wee picture on my Instagram, and it's always just either my face, me just now, or I'll have one in my lingerie, which is a professional photo shoot, which I've had taken not for OnlyFans, but for my modelling career. So I would just post that up, and I would have my wee link, and if say for example, I wanted to have more subs in, or if I'm just like putting it up so that the people that are already subbed who see my Instagram story, they'll know that I have new content up. So I'll just say new content recorded today, or free sub for my next 10 lucky subscribers, and you'll have people tap that straight away because they're so miserable and want free subscriptions.
Why
so I'll make sure that you both are blocked from getting free subs. I'll charge us double.
You don't need to worry about blocking me.
You don't need to worry about it.
I know.
But
yeah, promoting, that's basically how you promote. And then, other girls will message me on Instagram saying, hey, do you want to do a shout out? And I would always say yes, because I love helping other people too. I want to see other girls.
What do you mean a shout out?
So they will take my picture and they'll put it on their story, and they'll tag my Instagram.
Because they have people subscribing to them, you have people, and you
no,
just
this
want
is
to swap.
Instagram. This is Instagram.
Right, okay.
You can do all your promoting on Instagram.
That's clever.
I also have a Telegram group,
right?
And I used to have 17,000 members in it. So yes, it was a lot of people.
Are these subbing 17,000 members?
They were subbed, yes.
Shut
and then,
right.
Man, my
like
last OnlyFans. So I got the Ocean people, the American people, to run my OnlyFans, and they hacked it and they took $5,000, blocked me out of my OnlyFans, and then that's when I quit. I stopped.
So you come off it? You stopped?
I stopped for about 3 months, and then I went back on it there recently again. But
how does that work with the relationship? Were you in a relationship at these times?
Whenever I met my ex-partner, I was still doing OnlyFans, and he didn't want to be with me because I did it, so I stopped it for him. And I'd said, look, this is my finance. This is where I make my money. And he was like, I'll provide for you, blah, 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 with his career and stuff. And as soon as he got what he wanted, that's whenever the mistreatment started. He started doing everything that I told him not to do. Like, not that I told him not to do, but I said at the start, look, I'm this type of person. If you want to have a successful and, long relationship with me, just don't disrespect me in this form, that form, and this form. Yes, no problem, great. I don't want you to do this, this, and this.
Is that not every relationship? But people have their boundaries, and you're respectful of each other.
Yeah, and but it was just any time I spoke, like he couldn't talk. He couldn't listen. He just got really like he actually acted like a child, as if he was being shouted at by his mother, when I could have been as calm and collected, cool as a cucumber, like so chill, and just be like, look, we've had a conversation. We're both adults here. What are you doing, man? Like, come on. You don't see me at that. And it would just be like arguments. So it got to the point whenever I couldn't even speak about my boundaries, and I was just constantly being disrespected every day, to the point where, I was turning into a different person. I was like punching walls and breaking my knuckles, and it was just hurting myself because I couldn't hurt him standing in front of me, so I'd do something beside him. And for anyone to get violent or aggressive, you are in the most unpeaceful state, mentally and physically, internally and externally, and you need to escape that. So I had said to him, look, I need you to leave me home. And he drove me home, and he started an argument in the car. So this was only maybe 2 months ago, and he was driving at 60 miles an hour. I just jumped out of the car, opened the door in the main road, and just jumped out. I couldn't sit beside him anymore.
Why the fuck were you not killed?
Man, I do not know.
I can't.
Swung the door open.
You're hard to follow. You say it in such a calm way, and
just because
it's just a turbulent like
It's just
crazy.
because
What? So,
like a lot of people, like today, you should be very, very, very surprised the amount of people that are in relationships that are changing. Like they're being changed as a person, and they're becoming, because they're being mistreated, they're actually becoming animalistic. I became animalistic, like from the mistreatment, to the point where, number one, I'm jumping out of a moving car to escape my baby father, and number two,
you were pregnant at this point?
yeah.
It's not. It just seems to me a very weird thing to do. Anyway, look.
It was before I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
So it was like maybe, it was about 4 or 5 months ago, whenever I had last been with my partner, and that's whenever I left him.
Right, okay.
And once I found out that I was pregnant, like that whole experience, just by me doing that in itself, I sat down, I was like, you did that with a baby in your stomach. That baby was there. That baby has literally experienced everything you've went through, like this, in this process. This baby's heard this man's voice. This baby has heard how this man treats you, heard noises, been there, felt everything, vibrations, whatever. And that's whenever I sat in guilt and I was like, I could have really hurt myself, and I could have really, really, really destroyed this baby's life. And that was the point for me. I was like, look, I literally can't be with anybody. I can't, not right now. I can't. I need to focus on this child. I'm not losing another child. I'm not, because I know myself, and I know God knows that I won't ever have a family with a man in the future. This is my family now. I gave a man the opportunity to have a family with me, and he didn't want it. So for now, I have this family, and I'm going to be there for the child and provide the child with everything they need. And I don't need that other half. I don't need it anymore, because the only real reason that I needed another half was to provide me with this validation that I've constantly been looking for my whole life, which we don't need to do. And seeking love and being made feel like you're unlovable. All you want to do is go out and prove yourself wrong, so you keep trying to be loved, and that's not the right way to do it. It's really not. You have to wait, and you have to just be patient. And for me, being pregnant has made it a lot easier for me. So it has, because I know in the end I'm going to have a human that is literally going to need me. This baby's going to need me, and this baby's going to come for me, come to me for love, and be needy of me, and come to me for food, and allow me to provide what I would have provided for a man, but for my own genetic offspring. And I can't wait. And without my partner, I wouldn't have been able to be as blessed as I am today. But I'm also blessed that I had the strength to walk away.
So then, what is the plan now? You are where are you at now? You're not back home.
Well, I'm moving into my new house at the end of this week. So,
okay. And you've reactivated your old platform, or did you have to start a new one? You got hacked or something? Did you say?
Yeah. So my old OnlyFans actually got hacked by the agency that were running my OnlyFans. So I had to cancel and set up a whole new one.
Okay.
So if anybody wants my link, just pop up to my Instagram. You'll see my Instagram link in the video, I'm sure, that these guys will put up.
So look, you're moving into your new house, and
I am
obviously
indeed.
you've opened up the new platform.
Uh-huh.
Well, you've opened it back up again on OnlyFans. So how is the dynamics of that while you're pregnant?
It's a bit of playing word, Sean.
What is it?
You've opened up your platform again.
Well, you know what it is. Obviously, my OnlyFans this time around is very, very different. Because I am pregnant, I'm taking a different approach. I am a mother to be. So, yes, there are girls on there that are posting everything, and, they'll do almost literally anything. Whereas I'm sticking to my job as a lingerie fitness model as well. And people are happy enough to just buy my pictures. So, and there are people that want to actually stay along the journey in my pregnancy and see how I'm getting on. Some people on there, like, I'm surprised. Like, my last account, everybody wanted like everything, but this account, it's very innocent, very supportive. There's like
I just struggle with that. It's very innocent. These men that randomly just pop onto my account
Yeah,
to
it
watch me in my lingerie as I train pregnant.
It sounds worse, but you see when you're on the other side of the phone and there's actually men chatting to you, not about business or OnlyFans, and it's about your own life. They can text you on anything, but it's support as well. Like even with my last OnlyFans, I made most of my money through sales, whereas this time I'm making all my money through tips. Like everybody's just tipping me, like randomly, or if I post up a new picture of me smiling, they're tipping away, and it's like, here, I like this wee game this time. I'm not giving too much away. You know, it's a lot better.
Have you got like, you know, the way you're saying content? I take it that's like videos or pictures, right?
Yeah.
So
Content creation means anything.
Was your older one like more like risque or
Right, so I travelled and moved to Liverpool for 3 months, and I worked out there with an adult agency.
Right.
And you know, you work with other
so I'm getting the idea.
You work with other really top end
Right,
OnlyFans
okay.
people, and you do collaborations. So there's, you know, there's famous videographers there, and there's famous photographers, and there's all these models. And
can you not use that from the old one? Have you not still like got
no,
that?
I had to delete everything for my relationship. I removed everything. I deleted all my content from the past
all
year.
these things that you could have resold,
Resold, they're gone.
Right.
So now I've had to literally start fresh.
Because I know why I'm asking these for you, right?
No, work away.
But this is what I'm trying to.
But I'm also a tattoo artist, okay? So like this isn't my main job, okay?
All right.
So
Okay.
once I move into my house, I'll be tattooing as well.
17,000 people in a Telegram group. This amount of people advertising, I'd be like, shit, it sounds like a real job to me. It
Shit,
sounds
the
like
bed is
proper.
right.
But so like it obviously is a mass change. And what is your plan for it? Is it
This is just to build a
working and
bit
we're
of
going to
money.
continue on?
This is, you see, OnlyFans for me, because I model, and you know, whenever I go to a photo shoot, I get paid for my photo shoots. So a photographer will message me saying, I want this style of a shoot for this amount of time, and I just charge them what my prices are. You see, whenever I'm not doing as many photo shoots, I'm only really using OnlyFans as a backup income. But last year, OnlyFans was my only income. That's why I was earning so much, because I was on every day. I was on top of everything. Right now, it's just a wee, you know, side piece kind of thing to build up a bit of money. But, you know, I don't know what is to happen when I have the baby. But all I know is it's not really something that I want to be doing when I have my child. But, you know, for the meantime, it's getting me by. It's helping me live life. You know, it's the income that is helping me eat, drive places, you know, live and survive. So, you know, just because I'm out of tattooing at the moment, just because I haven't moved into my house and got my studio set up, once I get it all set up, you know, OnlyFans will be just a proportion of my income with my other jobs there, you know, so yeah.
Well, look, it's been you know something I'm going to say, and we've seen this. It seems to me there's a pattern in through repeated in your life, and it's that desire of love, to be loved. Yep. And to thing, and from where you come from and your circumstances, I think that's a common enough that the people would understand that need for love. But it also makes you very vulnerable till a certain type of people prey on that.
Yep.
And they see that.
And that's where that's where I have clicked myself on to behaviours.
But what I do hope, and over time, because I feel like it may make you slightly self-destructive with your relationship with your parents and you know, people that you know, you want to test them, you push them away to test them to see if they still love you, and the fear of abandonment. You know, if you're abandoned as a baby, that what would stop these people doing
100%. That is like my two fears in this lifetime. And I have been told by, you know, in the past when I did go to Reiki and stuff, like I was told these are my two main things that I do not like: abandonment and rejection.
Well, I just hope that when bringing the wee Bobby in, I don't and from like I know that things are slightly estranged with parents now, and a wee Bobby's hard work, and you'll need as many people around, and I have no doubt they unconditionally love you.
Oh, 100%. My family, like my support system is like my father and my mother are still there. But, you know, they're just processing everything too. You know, they still need time to process everything, and, you know, they have time. But by the time I'm giving birth, if they haven't got their head around it, it's not for me to take control. If you want to be a part of mine and my child's life now that I've grown up and I have now started my own family, it's up to you. Like, I'm not going to force you to stay in my life. I'm not going to force you to provide support. If you want to be there, you be there. If you don't.
The one thing I would say now, to be fair to them, I would say, and I don't mean this to say, you wouldn't have been the easiest. I'd say that
oh Jesus,
you've
I was
created
hanging
some
off.
turmoil
I was
for them.
hanging off chandeliers and all.
So I get that, and I would say that there's just a lot of stuff at the minute, but I'm sure deep down they love you. They'll be
Oh
there.
yes.
The Bobby will be there, and you know what'll happen, and it's always the way. When a Bobby's here in 2 years' time,
Everyone's forgotten about.
walking them up the
Yep.
proudest bunch, and it's just these are all smokes and mirrors at the
Oh
minute,
yes.
but the fundamental thing, and I just wanted to say, because I feel like at the deep root of it, and I know just because of the situations you're in at the minute, it's not all vibing, that they maybe come across a bad touch, but I feel like it's important to say that, you know, for people out there and the hearing adoption, it's a loving thing.
Oh
I
yes.
think when someone
It's one of the most
chooses to
beautiful
love a child,
forms. It's the most beautiful forms of compassion and love.
because
Taking a child that isn't yours into your own hands and providing them with a life. There's no better people. There literally is no better people than people who cannot conceive. And they go get it and they go and change a child's life. Like, there's just, like, there's nothing in life that can compare to that. Because that's for me, providing others with opportunities that they might not have without you is the biggest act of love.
well, I hope you can sort it out, and you will sort it out, and I hope you can get some. But I'm going to be honest, I'm a wee bit tired here.
There's been so many different things. So
know.
even hockey, like you played for Ulster, is that right?
Yeah, I was in the Ulster TDS squad.
What was your name again?
Taya.
Your name on your top again.
Oh, Tits McGee.
How to get that out there? How to get
T1,
that out there?
T5 McGee.
But then, whenever I talked, you were surfing.
Yes.
You were lifeguard, is that right?
Yeah,
In
doing
Ross
surf
River?
lifesaving in Snarley, yeah.
Yeah.
Came third in Ireland in, I think it was 2018, 2017.
fucking mad.
That we didn't even talk about.
What did you say? And I don't mean that.
I'm
to you.
24.
That look, listen. This is
Tattoo
Here,
artist.
see all you've heard today. This has all happened in the past 2 years. This is like my life was like I'm so grateful. My childhood was easy. Like, my parents handed me everything. They had us all around the world skiing. I did downhill skiing, competing whenever I was like 6 or whatever age. Like, because my parents always had me down. At Christmas, we'd always go away. Santa would come to us when we're abroad. Like, everything was just, they made our lives magical. And I think, you know, now that I am a wee bit older,
And you pulled a pin on a grenade at about 18 and threw her into the middle and says, right, it's time to fucking blow this thing clean up. And you have had an easy run of it. Now I'm just going to fucking thing. But you have had quite a life. That
Yeah.
there's no doubt. Now,
I've had an amazing life.
I would say the OnlyFans might test them a bit too.
Oh, they hate it, man. They hate it.
I
That's why
I can't
kinda
understand
keep it-
that
I keep
without
it on
trying
the
to be
DL.
judgmental, and I'd be open till a lot. Like, I'm not judging people and things. I can understand how that wouldn't fly.
here, I understand too. Like, if my child came to me and said, yo, I'm doing OnlyFans, I'd be like, oh, Jesus. And then I'd be like, oh, wait, I did it. And then I would actually give them advice on how to protect yourself, how to make sure that everything's encrypted, make sure nothing goes anywhere, you know.
My parenting advice is so different. Mine is do as I say, not as I did.
You know, but because I'm doing it, and it's probably different from, well, my child hopefully will not go through the same experience as I will. For them to start something like this, the only reason I started OnlyFans is because I came out of a toxic relationship and I hated men. Like, I hated them. I couldn't understand why a man who gets given everything couldn't provide minimalistic boundaries and minimalistic respect and good behavior. So from then I was like, you know what? Because he didn't want me to do it, that's why I'm doing it. I'm going to earn my money again. I don't need to rely on you, even though.
Don't do anything out of anger to prove someone wrong.
Of course, but
Your motive should always be for yourself.
absolutely. But it was for myself. Like, I shouldn't have had to stop my mode of income for someone else because they didn't think I was worthy to be with them because of what I do.
Well, I
Even though what they do in their career is not, how do I say it? It's something that I really, really, really frown upon. I don't like it. And a lot of people don't like it. To be a professional fighter or a martial arts person is not, in my eyes, to be fighting for money is worrying.
It's
It's
weird.
worrying and it's weird. It's
No, I think it's
for
weird.
me. It's hard to understand because I've never been a fighter, and I've never been a man to be like, oh, I'm going to go into the ring and wreck somebody here and then get paid for it. Like for me, that's not the type of person that
It's weird.
I can see to show
Because
love. Like all they have is anger.
people are going to say, I find it weird that you can judge me for being a professional fighter while you do OnlyFans. People are going to
Yeah. No,
and
but
say-
that's what I'm saying to you. Like, what I'm saying to you is I accepted what he did. I'm still going to have my opinion. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't.
Well, tell me this.
And- But his career wasn't something that made me go, okay, if you don't stop this, I can't be with you. I would never do that to someone. It's your income. And if you're happy and you're earning the money that you need, then you stick by it, babe. You do what you got to do. But when someone tells me that I'm not worthy of being loved or in a relationship with because I do a certain thing, that is whenever I should have walked away instead of stopping what I'm doing, leaving myself living in a woman's aid for 8 months, falling pregnant with this man, and then now doing it on my own. It's a journey and a half, and I'll always love him because he blessed me with the most beautiful thing that but I have a wee rainbow baby on the way. Like this is going to change my life forever, and my life will never be the same. But there's only so much that I can accept and move forward. I can't go back. I can't repeat cycles. I don't repeat cycles, especially if I can see what I'm doing. If I can see what I'm doing and I can see that it's repeated behaviours, straight away I'm analysing and I'm saying, right, you need to remove yourself. Or if I'm feeling a certain way because of somebody's behaviour, I know that's an internal issue and I can't be with someone whenever I feel like this. So I need to go and I need to take time, work through my own inner child traumas, and then I'll come back. But if by the time my childhood traumas have all healed and I don't have that connection with you anymore, I won't be back. You know what I mean? So for now...
Well, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Megan was on, we had Megan on previously, she does OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
She quite openly stated that she wouldn't get in a relationship with anybody that wasn't okay with her doing her OnlyFans content.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you this. Do you think it's unreasonable for a man to ask someone he's met to stop doing OnlyFans?
Absolutely not. It's not unreasonable whatsoever, but it depends how you say it and it depends how you make that girl feel whenever you're talking to her. If you say to me, babe, I'm not happy, I want you all to myself, blah, 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 not that I can never be with a slag. I can never be with someone that does it because I'm this.
Well, that's a bit fucking...
That's whenever I'm like, yo, take the stick out of your ass here. You and I have the exact same, well, no, we don't. But I have morals and I have boundaries. Just because I do what I do doesn't mean... Like, I'm an actress. That's what OnlyFans is. You're an actress. You fulfill a role for your customers and for your clients. See, in real life, I'm me. I am who I am now. And, the people on OnlyFans will also get to see this. If they want, normal chat, I'll chat away to them like this, like a normal person. There's no act. But, I completely get it. There's going to be people out there that don't like that I do it and will never like that I do it. But don't interact with me in the first place knowing that I am an OnlyFans model and then try and make me stop.
Aye.
Because you've
That's fair
already
enough.
seen,
That's fair
you've
enough.
already seen that I am an OnlyFans model, and you can see in my profile that I am top 2%. So you have made it very clear that you want to be incorporated with me and you want to be involved, but you don't want me to remain as
Probably very
successful
similar.
as I am.
I don't think you can't pray for the rain and not take the mud. Like it is. That's a fair enough. Because I'm old school.
You know, it's
and
different if
I am-
somebody doesn't know you do it and then you're dating for a while and then they go, oh, I saw you on OnlyFans, I don't like this. He knew before we even met
Aye,
that
because
we were on OnlyFans. I was on OnlyFans.
They're very similar. Like he's going into the ring and getting hammered, and then you're in the bedroom getting hammered. So they're probably
Man, my parents are going to hear this.
Yes, lad. Oh, I didn't see that coming at all. This may sound judgmental. I don't know whether me as a person I could handle having my partner would have had pictures or videos on, but that's just me.
What if she asked you to do it with her?
No, and it's not for me because that's not that type. But I'm not saying that as in a judgment because I know that I am a fuddy-duddy and some of that shit and how I think, and I don't view anyone or judge anyone. My mindset is to everyone, and a lot more recently, just judge people on their vibe, the way
Yeah,
they're
their
giving
behaviour
off
and how they
are to
interact
me.
with you.
Yeah, so I don't. It's not like I sway, but for me, if people ask me honestly, do you want to be honest on? How would your I'm a pretty confident guy and I'm not a jealous sort of person. I love my wife, I trust her, but how would I cope with the fact that there would have been pictures or videos of her very privately online? Would I and other people may have that on their phone? How would I don't think I could handle that as a person.
Yeah,
I know
of
there's a
course.
lot of men out there that can.
Absolutely.
But also you made a very clear point. Don't go dating somebody.
Like don't
that's
text
the
me.
case-
Don't text me and say,
And then
you know,
change your mind.
I would like to see you. You all and then tell me 2 months or 3 months or 3 months down the line. Sorry, within a month, I got 3 weeks of bliss. And then with the first after that, it was like, if you want to be with me, you have to delete this.
Because I don't
Like
think
if you want to be with me, but why waste 3 weeks of my time? First of all, you know I'm on it. And if you're not wanting something authentic for 3 weeks, those 3 weeks, you're actually no better than my fans online.
But then again, he could be a controlling person. He might have seen you on that and says, right, obviously attracted to you, and then was like, right, attracted to you.
No, but he didn't even have my OnlyFans. Nothing like
So
that.
there's nothing like that.
No.
at all?
Like he could see on my Instagram page like that I was top 2%.
I don't believe that. Look, listen. If I seen a nice Mercedes, I'd want to look at the catalogue before I bought it as well. No, I don't believe
No,
that.
that's fair.
I genuinely don't believe that he didn't see that. I don't know. Look, listen, OnlyFans is a thing after I've been married, so I don't know how.
Yeah.
But would I, if I was messaging a girl and I was like, there is a link and I could get a sneak peek, would I? I don't know. Look, I'd fucking buy it. I'd look at it.
Bear, you 100 cement would be all up in that. Like,
I'm like, I'm taking a sneak peek.
Here, you need to, you need
all right,
to
look.
try before you buy. Like,
But look, this will come across because some people will be and like we had a very good frank conversation with Megan and her views were very clear. She's a lot more, adversed in it and knew the thing and she had a very clear points that she's like, I need to know that people's okay with what I'm doing first.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know as me as a person and probably too old school, that wouldn't be for me. But it's
100%.
very fair to say don't message somebody if you're going to have them issues down the line.
yeah,
I don't know. Society's changed now and everything's digital. Even this that'll be here in 20 years. Thank God stuff we done 20 years ago is not still here now.
yep.
Being judged on what you done when you're younger. But I can see how it would create problems, but there's people that open minded wouldn't create problems. Probably jump in and say, look,
But
listen,
here-
let's make a few pounds
See,
together.
for me, I couldn't be with somebody that's on OnlyFans. I couldn't,
This is weird.
right?
You're
But
an OnlyFans model and you couldn't be with somebody that's on OnlyFans.
if I wasn't on OnlyFans, I couldn't be with someone on OnlyFans. No.
Oh, but if you were on it,
Yes.
if you were on OnlyFans, you could be with another one.
Yeah.
Aye, because you could.
Because
just
I know it doesn't
double down,
mean
make more money.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything. They're mine. I'm theirs. We're both making money the same way. We're both happy.
Aye, maybe.
You know, but I do completely understand. Like, if I was not on OnlyFans and I met a lad and he was on, first of all, I wouldn't even message him because I'd be like, nah,
Would you take a sneak peek?
not a chance.
I see one.
Not a chance. Here, you think I'm paying for men? Not a chance. It's the other way about, babe. Not a chance.
See one 100%.
Here. If it's a free subscription, I'll have a peek. But you see if they're looking to pay.
What do you mean,
Nah.
1999.
Instead of that,
How's that work then if it's free? What?
so say for example, I put my subscription as free.
Yeah.
You
So
just
people
go
take
in,
it for free.
Aye, but it'll be all basic shitty old pictures on your wall. Then they'll have to pay to unlock things on your wall. That is the proper content.
A wee like a wee fucking crack dealer. Just give them a wee bit.
Oh, right,
Get
just a
them
wee
hooked in.
teaser here and there, and then
It's just a glorified Instagram page then.
facts.
And then you hook them.
Oh, why?
Slow reel. Hey, it's fucking good job I was mine 10 years ago. I'm not built for this world the way it is now.
Here,
Jesus.
the world's not even wise anymore.
There's you've enlightened us a bit, but the one thing I wanted to thank you for coming up and coming on. The one thing I did take from it was there's been a turbulent couple of years. The one hope that I have for you is that firstly you resolve with your partner, and I know you will. I know they love you, and you will
Always,
resolve it.
it always will.
And there's a baby on the way, and there's when you look at a baby, there's nothing but love, and there will be nothing but love. And I just hope you find a wee bit, settle down a wee bit, because
yes.
something tells me you're like the Tasmanian devil. There's a weight comes with you as you
Oh,
come.
trust
bit
me.
into-
See, since this baby's come along, like that's what I want. What I really, really did say. Like, I can come in and chat away with people and be outgoing and everything, but you see, logically and mentally, a female really does, like, it's a complete different transformation, mentally and physically. Number one, our bodies change, and number two, our mentality completely like transforms. It's a complete jump. And it's literally like you've reincarnated. It's a weird feeling, especially whenever you've got past the point where there possibly could be risks within the pregnancy. You know, whenever you get past your 12 weeks, 20 weeks, you're usually not really prone to miscarriage or anything like that. So from that, I got that strength and stability. And I was like, I've got past what I couldn't get past last time. There's improvements, and it keeps you really, really, really motivated on that side of things in your life. And now that I'm pregnant, I can't think about anything else other than my child. I can't think about anything else other than the baby and how and what I'm going to do to make everything mold into place for the child coming along. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I have been a very, very chaotic human. I have, and I've involved myself in a lot of chaos throughout the years. But, you know, with being in toxic relationships and, you know, your partner's having secret relationships for a year of it, or, you know, cheating on you with your best friend, all that sort of stuff, whenever you're by yourself, you can sit and really, really think to yourself, like, that wasn't all them. I was so chaotic. I didn't even know, like, what I was doing or what I was saying or what way I was acting. But looking back now, I can see as to why these people may have done the things that they did, because I was too overpowering and I needed too much. So, you know, now with all of that happening, I know I'm never going to go through relationship trauma again, because I just know it. The next person I'm with is going to be extremely different. If I ever will be with someone, it'll be done completely different from how any of my relationships have been done before. How I approach the situation, how I converse with that person, how I look at that person and really talk to them and look into their eyes so that they really hear me. And the same for them. And see, whenever you've got effective and efficient communication, there's nothing that can crack or downfall any situation. If two people effectively communicate, all there is a successful outcome. And that's how I will be moving forward in my life in the future with anybody I come into contact with, anybody I speak with, even with yourselves. Like, that's how it is.
Well, one other thing. If it's a boy, Owen is a beautiful name.
I'm sure you have a million other names other than Owen.
I actually do. Like, if it was a boy, how
My wife would not let me call her Owen because it would be Owen Jr. and it would be OJ.
Oh,
And
why?
she's like, I ain't having orange juice or OJ Simpson.
That's class.
But look, I do wish you and the Bobby all the best.
Thank you so much, and it was amazing coming to you guys today. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're
It was
welcome.
class.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.